Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. I'm your host, Cupcake the Riddler, and I'm joined by
Solzy,
Kendall,
Mock,
Sheen Washable.
J-Mart.
See, that worked out perfectly. Jeff was drinking when that happened. That's what you need to start doing, Kendall.
it's the pause that I need to learn.
You need to learn it. Today's show is going to be all about fantasy football. The worst thing ever created.
No, it's not.
It is. So, before that, Toast to Excellence. I believe Mr. Kendall Reed would like to call this Toast to Excellence.
I would, and I'm the toast excellent. My goodness.
Well, hold on. We're going to do the starting lineup
Go
anyway.
around the... Yeah, I was going to say.
Machine Washable, lead us off again.
You know.
I have, I believe I've had this on the show before, but from the Counterweight Brewery here in Connecticut, I have the Headway IPA.
Okay.
Today we have Pinball from Two Brothers, also been featured on the show from Solzy. He had it, was not a fan. And I'm going to have it today.
Excellent.
I'm going to have my favorite, Too Juicy Baby.
Excellent. By Black Hog, I'm going to have some hog water.
That's right.
Can you please read the description?
A hop lover's wet dream.
Excellent. I'm having Guinness.
That's my wet dream.
I want everyone on the show to know that some 20-odd years ago, this was the craft beer.
Yeah. Up there with, like, Blue Moon.
No.
You get out.
You are done. Before the crack of the beers, our toast to excellence, Mr. Kendall Reed.
LaDainian Tomlinson for making the Hall of Fame.
To LaDainian Tomlinson. The Guinness foam. Did you hear the foam? Did you hear it just like squeak right out of that?
Oh my god.
Kendall's lapping up his beer as we speak.
Kendall just spilled about a third of his beer on his crotch.
It was like a freaking volcano. And for no reason. It didn't even get shaken up.
Jerk off.
Kendall Reed, unable to open a beer since 1994.
Basically, it's like every show.
Well,
Right on the crotch.
as per last show with my most incorrect guess and Maxine's Washable absence from the trivia question, we have something delightfully terrible in front of us, as prepared by Jeff Martin. So remember the rules, Mock. No sniff. Just a sip. You have to do the whole thing, though.
It's probably not going to happen. There's
You're
more
doing the whole thing.
There's more food in here than liquor.
You're doing the whole thing. Do you see how much I have?
Yeah, but you're not going to drink that whole thing.
I'll do the whole thing because you're going to do the whole thing. That's how it's going to work.
Kyle's got to drink some of that.
Salute, Mock.
No, I don't.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
god,
like
that's gross.
spicy. Oh, man.
Good.
And there's only one non-booze product in that?
I'll clarify it when we get to it.
So what's the name for it? Well, hold on. Let me get a guess what's in there first.
Vanilla bourbon or something like that.
Yeah, it kind of...
There's a bourbon, but it's not vanilla.
I'm going to say...
Chocolate.
I shouldn't have to chew on it, Jeff.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead...
The treat after.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's... Eagle Rare Bourbon, Peachtree and Garlic Salt.
You got one right.
Excellent.
It's Peachtree.
So what's the name?
The name is Frank's Cheese.
Frank's Cheese.
Frank's
All right.
Cheese.
Is that Parmesan?
That is great. We got some hot sauce, which is the questionable one because I've had a shot of Patron with hot sauce in it at a bar.
Yeah.
So that's like a gray area.
So it's hot sauce.
Grated Parmesan cheese. You got Litchfield's own coffee bourbon, Peachtree, and a little touch of lime juice.
I think I would throw up.
That explains why the snifter was completely full as opposed to the usual third of the way up we usually do.
Yeah.
So that was terrible.
Yeah, that was rough.
Well, since I was the one who got the question wrong last time, trivia time for you, gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Biased football time. Show's all about football today. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl.
Duh, Bears.
Where they played the Colts. Don't you dare. Ever. You're not a Bears fan. You can't
That's
say
true.
it. In the Super Bowl where they faced the Colts, how many receiving yards did Moose and Muhammad have?
I'm going to go with 64.
Okay.
81.
60.
14.
looks like one Kendall Reed will be doing the shot. He had 35 receiving yards, but he scored a touchdown.
I knew he scored, but I just figured he had way more yards.
No, he had 35 receiving yards. So are you excited to do the gross shot? Wait, were you the furthest? I don't remember what Kyle said, to be honest.
60.
I was 81.
You said 64. I said 60.
Okay, same shit.
No, so Mock has to do the shot. All right, perfect.
No.
So Kendall,
It
you
all
get to do the gross
backfires.
shot next
All
show.
right,
Are you
well, if it's
excited?
anything like, what was it, Tony's Pizza? Or what
No,
was it?
that's Frank's cheese.
Yeah, that was rough.
Good.
That was not good.
Yeah, it is.
Good. I wanted to really spice it up, if you know what I mean. I don't want to be cheesy or anything.
I need you to catch a moth.
I'm off. Wow.
I'd like to trap Jeff in a room full of moths. For those of you who don't know, Jeff is terrified of winged insects. Well, actually, he's kind of terrified of all bugs, but especially ones with wings.
Except for the, what are they, the pill bugs? The roly-polies? those are cool with me.
They don't have wings.
What about cockroaches?
No thank you.
All right. No, thank you. Excellent. So, we here at Getting Sports with Drunk have decided to divvy up fantasy football positions. There's some weirdos out there. If you're one of them, I'm sorry, but there's the people who pick their own defenses. Not a fan of that. Too much going on. So, we go by the standard rules, which is quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, and defense. I couldn't ever imagine picking an entire defense.
No, me neither.
I've done it.
Be as hard
I've
as
done it too, but
keeping
it's
up
like
with an MLB team.
You start picking players you don't really know. You're just like, yeah, this guy's available in the 13th round. So, Kyle, would you like to lead us off with yours?
I will. So
Too bad, because Jeff's got quarterbacks, so he's going to go first.
Wow. Wow.
So, Jeff Martin's top 3 fantasy quarterbacks in
All right.
order. Now you get to choose. Are you going
order.
from 3 to 1 or 1 to 3?
I'll go from 3 to 1.
All right. Hopefully, there's some serious debate going on from that guy, Kyle Souls / Mojito / Juicy Baby.
The man of many names.
Oh, there will be. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. Number 2, Tom Brady. Number 1, Drew Brees.
No problem.
You have no debates with that?
Nope.
I have debates with that.
All right.
I disagree with Tom Brady being number 2. I don't think Tom Brady should ever be in the top 3 for fantasy quarterbacks. I just don't. I mean, he has good games. Don't get me wrong, and I mean I know past years will prove me wrong, but overall, he's never the guy in yards. He might be the guy in touchdowns, but not with an unhealthy Rob Gronkowski or just Rob Gronkowski in general. As long as there's clubs to be had, he'll be unhealthy. I don't see Aaron Rodgers being outperformed by Tom Brady in fantasy football points. I can't see it.
I agree with the...
And I hope you know how much that pains me to say that. I hope you know that the fire that is burning in my anus right now from saying that. I'm literally having diarrhea from all orifices by saying that.
I agree with the list of 3.
Just in case anybody was unclear, I really dislike Aaron Rodgers. Just wanted to throw that out there. Make sure that was really cleared up for everybody.
I agree with the list
Seriously,
of
I
3.
can't stay there.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
Just not the order. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the number 1 quarterback, then Brady, then Breeze. Rodgers, he has the weapons around him to just compile points. I think he's going to be the top quarterback this year.
I agree with Breeze being 1.
Yep.
And I do it because in most fantasy
No
football
bias
leagues,
here either.
Well, in most fantasy football leagues, there's point bonuses for yardage, and nobody can outthrow Drew Brees.
You only had
They
3
keep
less
taking
touchdowns.
his weapons away.
It doesn't matter. He's never had a Pro Bowl receiver. He's kind of always had a lack of weapons.
That's true. That's a good point.
I agree with the list, but I also have Rodgers over Breeze. I just feel that Rodgers will have a year where he throws a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah.
But Breeze is number 2.
No
Aaron
shot.
Rodgers, career high interceptions this season. You heard it here first.
Putting Brady above him.
I agree with the list. I would put Breeze at number 2 just because I'm afraid of the running game being much better than it was last year.
It's unproven running game.
Yeah, but I think
And you also have another receiving running back.
Breeze
in
for
the mix.
president.
I think Peterson will make that running game a lot better.
Well, of course. If
Right.
he's healthy.
Yeah, and I think Rodgers would be 1, Breeze would be 2, Brady would be 3.
All right, that's
All right.
fair. That's fair. Everyone's got their own assessment. I like how none of us disagreed with anybody on the list, though. I can't help it was Blaine Gabbert was left out, but
Thank you.
So who do you?
Kyle, real quick,
Oh,
let's
okay.
touch on Kyle and his every quarterback every year. It used to be Josh Freeman. Looked good the first, throw he threw, so he loves him. Now it's
Bought his
Blaine
jersey.
Gabbert. It used to be Bortles. Just sickens me. Anyway, so what are we going on to now?
Your bust.
The bust. Okay. My bust is going to be Cam Newton. Big time. I think between the whole, they want him to be a pocket passer, he wants nothing to do with it, and just him progressively getting worse, I see him having a very, very step-down year.
I have an agreeing argument. I agree that he's going to be bad, but I don't think he could be your bust because he's not coming off a good year.
But people tend to pick him just for the whole dual threat. He'll
Yeah,
always
that's fair.
he'll always be like a top, I wouldn't say a top tier. It's tough with the quarterbacks because you can't say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is a bust. That's bold.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson's my bust.
It's funny.
I'd agree.
I had the same thought because I think Cam's going to bounce back this year. But I see Russell Wilson kind of not regressing because he's very good, but just having a big time down season.
My bust would be Alex Smith. I think this is the year he just craps the bed.
All right.
Unfortunately, the nail
I know-
in the
He's been
coffin.
flirting with
I know
it.
who Kyle's is.
What do you think it is?
Dak Prescott.
No.
No.
My boast would be Matt Ryan.
Good.
I feel like
I'm going to buy you a drink after this. How
Yeah,
would you
a
like
nice
that?
22-ounce
We're gonna
Mountain
go.
Dew.
he
Grab
has-
a couple beers and dump them out all over Home Depot. Go on, Kyle.
He had such a strong year last year,
No, don't say other things.
but he had the tendency to throw a lot of picks, and I think he's going to throw way more picks than touchdowns.
And then, just real quick, who do you have for your sleeper quarterback of the year?
It's tough because I don't really know if you'd call it a sleeper, but I think, especially pending Ezekiel Elliott, I think Dak Prescott could take the next step fantasy-wise.
Well, it's not a terrible sleeper because he didn't really he more wowed with ball security and
Exactly.
decision making and not with stats.
Real football, he was great. Fantasy football, he was,
He was an okay guy to have on the
meh.
bench, but
Exactly.
all right,
Good
that's
for your
fair. I
body.
can agree with that. Souls?
I think Derek Carr. Even though he had a strong year last year, but I think this year he's going to really take the Aaron Rodgers level and really utilize Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree a lot better than he did last year.
Plus, he's got the running game now, too.
Marshawn Lynch. Beast mode. Guy's not playing flip-flops.
He's got more.
So the arguably second most important position on any NFL team, well, offensively minded, the running back. Especially in this dying era. Kendall Reed, what do you have for us?
I think my list is going to be the same for basically everybody. I think everyone has the same list. Going from 3 to 1, I have Elliott, Johnson, and then Bell. And I can't find a way to argue it differently. I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say, but
I see some head shaking already.
No, I just can't believe Brian Leonard's not on your top three.
What about Jim Leonard? He was a great safety.
Fitzgerald Toussaint. Well, see, I'm a big advocate. I think that David Johnson's a better running back than Le'Veon Bell, and I'll argue that forever. I know Kyle won't agree with it, but it's harder because Bell is a better receiving back, so fantasy-wise, it's hard to argue with those points.
Johnson's going to play all 16 games. Bell doesn't do that.
That's true, but it's really hard. It's hard to argue with it. The only really argument you could potentially make outside of biases for Johnson and Bell is, does Elliott have the same production that he has? I'll leave the name that I was thinking about off just in case he's your sleeper. But
Well, I will say, for me as a Steeler fan, Bell has to play a full season. 'Cause otherwise,
your window's closing.
Yeah. And when
Well, your
things-
Ben Roethlisberger window is closing.
Yeah. But it's like it's
Your
hard.
Landry Jones window though,
It might be
wide.
open.
Wide open.
But it's hard to defend a guy as good as he is, but to have him not play, a full season, it's tough to stand there like, well, no, you're wrong because blah, 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 blah. But
If he plays a full 16, he's hands down the best back in the league. Especially,
If he plays a full 16 games,
But he loves
he'll
that
very
weed.
he'll very easily be, I think, in my opinion, the highest point getter in
Yeah.
fantasy football, more
Absolutely.
than any quarterback.
absolutely.
Who's your sleeper?
my sleeper is Melvin Gordon.
Okay, all right. See, I was he can't be a sleeper because he's too good. The only name I think that could be argued to be on that top 3 list is DeMarco Murray. He had an outstanding year in his first year with Tennessee.
Yeah.
His first year with Tennessee had a great year.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better now that they have Eric Decker. Because it's just more options down the field, which takes more people out of the box.
See, I just think LeGarrette Blount is so overlooked.
Especially in Detroit.
In Detroit, specifically.
So
like nobody cared. That's what's crazy is no one cares what he did last year. 18, what do you have, 18 touchdowns, broke 1,000 yards.
He had his best year, but I think he's just a big back. I don't think he's a good back.
Yeah.
What's your bust?
Devontae Freeman.
Good. I'm also going to take you out for a drink. We'll all head up Home Depot after.
Because though he didn't have an outstanding year last year, it was good enough, and he was splitting time. I think it's kind of just going to be a downhill progression for him. And especially with the Falcons losing Super Bowl, I think there's going to have to be a Super Bowl hangover. I think things are just going to be a mess down in Georgia.
That's fair. Souls, the surplus position.
From 3 to 1, I got Odell.
Why don't you tell the people what your position is?
Wide receivers.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. You're really getting the hang of this podcast thing. I'm really proud of you.
I got Odell at 3, Julio 2, and Brown at 1.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
There's too many targets in New York for Odell to get the main target all the time. Julio Jones is a freak of nature. He's going to do what he does. And Brown won't be double covered anymore, so he'll get more looks from Ben.
I'm going to disagree with your list completely. I'm putting Julio Jones number 1. I just think he's the only reliable target that Ryan has, and he's kind of proven time and again that even if he is the only reliable target, it just works for him. I'm not going to argue that he's not going to be inconsistent because he does have inconsistent games, but it just kind of seems like the games where he's on, he makes up for those lack of inconsistent games.
Even games he misses because of injury.
Yeah, but
he's
just
still...
an off game for him is still a decent outing from a wide receiver, and then the next week he comes up and gives you 35 points. I think he's number 1. I give Brown 2, and I only do it because of the inconsistency at the quarterback position, and as we talked about, somewhat of the running back position. If Bell goes down, I mean, when Bell wasn't there, it hurt Antonio Brown. It's going to help him.
Yeah.
It's going to help and hurt him, that especially now that Martavius Bryant is going to be back.
Well, we still don't know that.
Well, he's coming. I think they announced that he's going to be back. He's going to be cleared tomorrow. I think they said it was going to happen. But now that he's back, it frees up Antonio Brown a little more, but it also takes away targets because Martavius Bryant is a very big deep ball threat, and we know the Steelers love the deep ball more than probably any other team in the NFL.
I even put Brown 3 just due to Ben. Like, the guy was going to retire, then all of a sudden, no, we're good. Just, like, I don't see the same.
I think Kyle almost just started crying.
Well, he's going to have to face the fact.
I'm putting Cooper over Beckham. I am. You touched on the target thing, especially now that Shepard's not going to be out for the season, which is big.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a running game, but they have 3 very reliable targets. They just got that nice tight end in the draft. Yep. They're still working Will Tye into the system, and he's proven to be good. But there's inconsistency at quarterback still. I mean, Eli Manning is going to be Eli Manning for the rest of his career. It's pretty much set in stone. And I talked about the inconsistency with Julio Jones. Odell Beckham Jr. is a little more kind of in your face, I feel, at least as a fantasy owner from what I've seen. I've just seen too many games where he comes out with a touchdown in 35 yards.
Yeah, it happens.
And then a touchdown in 35 yards, and then 100 yards with no touchdown, and then maybe he'll blow up for 212 and 2 touchdowns. But he also, I feel like he loses targets because of his crybaby-ish attitude.
It's funny because I also don't have Odell in the top 3 this year. I would have had in that 3 spot Jordy Nelson. I mean, Rodgers loves throwing the ball, and Nelson's his favorite target. I think he's going to rack up.
But Jordy Nelson
this year, yeah,
over Randall Cobb,
yeah,
maybe in a PPR league, but I don't know. Randall Cobb gets the touchdowns.
I mean, either one of them, you can't really go wrong.
Year, though,
Nelson, I think, led wide receivers last year in touchdowns.
Once.
But I'm saying,
but Randall Cobb regularly leads that team.
I'm saying Nelson led all receivers.
Right, but once he was the leader on the team in touchdowns, whereas Randall Cobb traditionally leads the team. So shut it. Can we got any disturbances or
No,
discrepancies?
that's my list also.
Yeah, of course it is. Steelers fans stick together.
Hey.
What do you got for sleeper?
Eric Decker. I feel like in Tennessee, he's going to get a lot of short touchdowns and short.
He's got a smoking hot wife.
And just like
Yeah.
the touchdowns are going to equal out to the yardages. And
Tune into our next show where we just talk about Brooke Decker.
Brooke.
I just feel like Tennessee is a perfect fit for him.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he kind of took a hit last year. I mean, he was injured last year too.
Yeah.
But
Brooke.
talk about a hit. The Jets are taking a really big hit at wide receiver. All three of their top receivers are now gone.
Yeah.
I like the Eric Decker pick, but I think a sleeper that a lot of people are going to forget about too is Alshon Jeffrey. I think he's still going to go because he's Alshon Jeffrey, but he's kind of been quiet, and now he's actually got he's actually there to be able to pose the deep ball threat.
Yeah.
And he's a big boy. He can do whatever he wants.
I have a sleeper also for wide receiver, and this is a guy. I don't know if he's gonna have a ton of points, but I think he's gonna win people fantasy matchups. Sterling Shepard. I do. He's gonna get probably 50 yards a game, and it's gonna win people games, and he's gonna throw in touchdowns. He's a sleeper at the wide receivers.
My sleeper is Greg Lewis. He retired a couple of years back.
Who's your bust?
AJ Green. The Bengals took a big hit at offensive line, and Andy Dalton won't be able to give him the ball much. He won't have the time to do it.
We need to keep talking.
You can't just stare at him.
Are you saying bust in terms of he's going to have a
If
dip in
fantasy-
productivity, or he's just going to be completely unproductive?
No, he'll be productive, but he won't have the yardage and touchdowns that he did the year before.
All right. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. He's definitely going to see a dip, but I still don't think it's bust worthy. For me, I think a big bust, at least in my eyes, is going to be Des Bryant. Until Dak Prescott, and I mean, granted, he's only played 1 year, but until Dak Prescott shows me that he's willing to throw the ball more than 10 yards in the middle of the field, it really kind of takes away what Des Bryant's about. Kendall, what do you have for bust?
For a bust, and I've been thinking. I think I need one more minute to think.
Okay, so you're not going to have one then.
Well, no, I will.
I'll jump in and take a spot. I think Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs is going to be a bust this year. He's a small, fast, like deep down the field threat.
Ted Ginn.
Alex Smith doesn't throw down the field. They're taking him out of kick and punt returns, so I think Hill's just going to fade out.
You got any busts on your mind, Jeff?
For receivers? Not really.
Harry Douglas?
No. It's such a tough position to have a bust. I can't say Odell Beckham is going to be a bust, but it is true. There's more depth, more options.
Well, it's hard too because in this league, every week there's somebody on some team that it gets picked up by 400,000 people because it's a throw-happy league. Your minute's up. Do you have a bust?
I'm ready. I have Doug Baldwin.
Excellent. We're not going to touch on it, though.
That's okay. That's
All
what
right.
I'm picking.
Perfect. Mark, what do you got in tight ends? 3 to 1.
My tight end list from 3 to 1.
I know it.
Number 3.
Is it Kyle with the tightest end?
Number 3 is the rookie O.J. Howard.
Bold.
Number 2 is Greg Olsen, and number 1 is Travis Kelce.
I mean, it's kind of hard to not argue with your number 3.
I think that offense is going to be explosive, and I think he's going to be heavily involved, especially in the red zone.
My number 3 is whichever of the 2 Chargers tight ends stays healthy, whether it's Gates or Henry. Either one of them.
Give us Gates.
Because, I mean, there's a lot. It's pretty apparent the teams that love tight ends, but I feel like it kind of goes unnoticed how much Phillip Rivers loves tight ends. I mean, Antonio Gates has kind of been his target forever, but he made Hunter Henry look real good.
Yeah.
In his first year, and I think if that comes around again, if Gates doesn't get hurt or stops performing because of age, whatever the case may be, I think it's him. It's kind of hard to argue Travis Kelce being really kind of the only reliable target.
He's also the familiar target in Kansas City. Macklin's gone. Hill, played last year, but like I said, he's a deep threat. Smith doesn't throw downfield. Kelsey's going to be that, almost security blanket, mid-range, and rack it up.
Any other discrepancies with the list?
I feel like Gronk definitely should be in there.
If he's healthy.
He'll be healthy.
That's the. I mean,
How do you say that?
How
How do you just?
Exactly.
He'll be healthy. How?
He'll play 14 games and will outscore all those guys.
No. to counter your no.
It will.
Well, I'm waiting for him to do it. Let this be the year. I'll wait for him.
Are you taking Charles Clay?
Actually, even better.
Chris
Gregg recently signed with the New York Jets. That's a team that doesn't have a lot of
Maybe
players.
he's already hurt.
Don't say that.
He is.
I follow him on Instagram. He's never been better. Hashtag my year. I want you to go look that up for him.
Now,
I'm actually going to change mine. Forget the Chargers. Martellus Bennett.
Yeah.
He's got, just the greatest quarterback in football today. I hate Aaron Rodgers, in case that wasn't stated earlier. But he's got the greatest quarterback in football today, throwing him the football. I mean, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback, but I mean, throwing the football wise, Aaron Rodgers is pretty much the peak of the career right now, and Martellus Bennett's a guy who is big. You saw the explosion of offense he had with Tom Brady. And, I mean, granted, Tom Brady likes tight ends a little more than Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's safe to say he's going to have a pretty disgusting year.
To piggyback off what Solzy said, Gronkowski is my bust this year. I think he's just going to be hurt again. And even if he's there, I don't think they'll feature him how they used to, because he's just going to keep getting hurt.
Any other busts, Kyle?
Well, Gronkowski's gonna be my bust, but it's biased.
Yeah, we know what you're going to say. Any
I know.
Patriot is a
That's
bust.
not true. I mean, they have a really good special teamer. His name escapes me, but he's going to be good.
You got any busts on your mind, Kyle? Excellent.
Brooke Deckers. Oh, I mean, yeah, Fleener.
Yeah?
I don't buy into Fleener. I sort of did when we first got him. I thought, with Breeze, he'd be elevated to a top tier tight end. Didn't happen. We'll see. I just don't see it. I see it taking another step backwards.
Sleeper?
My sleeper is Julius Thomas. I think he's going to end up with a ton of touchdowns this year. They just brought in Jay Cutler to Miami. I think Julius is going to be a red zone threat more than he ever was. And I think he's going to revamp his career in Miami.
I'm going to say a name that's not going to get me drink spot at the bar. And that's Jimmy Graham.
You'll still... This is a bust?
No,
This is
sleeper.
Sleeper.
Jim Graham, you said?
Yeah, Jim Otto Graham? No. I'm only
come
saying
to Home
because
Depot.
Jimmy Graham kind of started coming into his own as the year went on last year with Seattle. And I think with Russell Wilson, especially how I said earlier, I think he's going to have a bust year. I think he's going to kind of look for that more check down option. And they're utilizing Jimmy Graham more in the run game than the Saints did. So his routes are a little more shallow than usual. He's not lining up in that wide receiver role as much, and he's not taking those, those fly routes down the field where he's going to be bigger than everybody else. He's going to use his speed over the middle because, even for a tight end, he's big, but he's still very, very fast. And I think that he can outplay anybody at that linebacker position, especially in that division where all the linebackers, the Cardinals are pretty good, but the Rams are sketchy, but it's a division that's pretty weak. The Rams will still beat them because they're the Rams mob squad. But I think he's a for sure sleeper in my opinion.
It's funny because I had 3 names for the sleeper, and then I went with Julius, but I had Martellus Bennett and Jimmy Graham there, and I couldn't
I would have argued with you.
Pick one.
I would have argued with you till the cows came home about Martellus Bennett being a sleeper.
Jimmy Graham, you said it best. He had a good year. He's coming in his own. Time to trade him for a center.
I know a team in the NFC South that's got a pretty good center that they could trade for.
Also got to think of Jared Cook from Oakland. Big year last year. I think he's going to have a bigger year this year.
I think he had a good year because he had a quarterback that knew how to utilize him. Not that Carr's not a good quarterback, but I don't see Carr utilizing a new weapon that well right away. If Jared Cook stays in Oakland for 3 years, I think next year and the year after that...
I think it was a fluke.
I think he's stone hands. He was absolutely atrocious when he was in L.A. Well, St. Louis or whatever the hell he was. Where the hell were they? St. Louis? I can't even remember.
It was St.
Teams
Louis.
are changing too much. But he was really good with Tennessee. I agree. He had a great year with, Aaron Rodgers. I think if he stays there, I think he turns out to be a really good wide receiver, but I just don't think Carr is going to utilize him the way he should right off the bat. I think Carr is still young enough where he's going to make mistakes, and I think those mistakes are going to come throwing to the more inexperienced guys he's with.
One more name that we all forgot about was Delaney Walker.
There's a
The
reason.
guy puts up
we didn't forget.
He puts up a lot of numbers every year with the Titans.
Yeah, he does. But I left him off kind of on purpose.
Defenses and kickers, the real winners. Defenses are the reason you lose games, especially in leagues where you lose a lot of points for giving up
New Orleans.
too many points. Kyle,
Which will happen this year.
the commissioner. I think kickers are the real winners. I've won a lot of games on the legs of kickers. So we'll start with defense. 3-1. I'm going to put the Giants at 3. Always a pretty ferocious front seven. Very much improved secondary.
Yeah.
2, I'm putting the Cardinals. And Denver at top.
No gripes here.
I can't really... I'm trying to find something to debate so we can keep things moving, but I can't really
I want to
knock
put
any of them
I think
out.
Houston deserves to be on that list.
I was trying to think of how to put Houston in, but who do you take out?
I take out the Giants.
Yeah, well, shut up.
I just think they got a good pass rush. I think they can get you some sacks.
I'm waiting for Kyle to
I
steel
agree
curtain.
with you. The Texans and the Seahawks were both on my list, like when considering. They both do rack up a lot of sacks. The Seahawks have a pretty formidable secondary still, but they're not. I don't know. To me, they haven't been the shutdown interception kings that they've been known to be. And I mean, we talk about it all the time. Cornerbacks have very short windows of greatness, and I think those windows are closing. Richard Sherman is still going to be a great shutdown corner, but he's not going to be the interception guy. And in terms of fantasy football, if you have Champ Bailey, for example, Champ Bailey wasn't winning your team any points because he gave up no receptions. I mean, interceptions is where the points come from.
Yeah.
There's other corners that are going to give up scores. And for Houston, I still think their offense is going to be a little tough. I mean, I definitely think that Hopkins is going to get more kind of limelight, which is another name that was left out of the wide receivers. But with a rookie quarterback, it's hard. So I just think that they're going to be on the field a lot. And, I mean, like we said with all these other players like Gronkowski, I mean, Watt's got a lot to prove health-wise. He gets hurt a lot. And,
He does.
I agree.
And Clowney's, not that he's not going to get hurt, but he's got
been
health
hurt.
issues.
He's been
And
hurt too.
the whole defense has health issues from time to time. So that's where they're left off. My sleeper, if you can call it a sleeper, I say Kansas City. The only reason I say that is because their defense did take hits this free agency and offseason and whatnot, but I still think they're going to do well. I put them in my sleeper because I think a lot of teams or players are going to drop them from time to time because their offense isn't there. Mm-hmm. So, like any defense, it's really hard for your defense to put up points when they're on the field for 40 minutes out of the 60 minutes. So you can argue about that as you will.
Well, I had an idea for a sleeper, but I'm unsure if you have him as your bust, so I don't want to step on your toes, but I'm going to say the Vikings.
Bust.
Really?
The Vikings are my bust.
I figured they would be kind of under the radar because they started off so hot last year and then fell off. So I see at least defensively, they'll be okay. The offensive side is a little shaky, but
I say they're a bust, and the reason I say it is because you're right. They did get hot, and if they get hot, it's wonderful. But the whole thing is they have to get red hot again.
Yeah.
Because the minute that they even started to cool off, they got shredded. I mean, they got shredded on Monday Night Football by a pretty disgusting Bears offense. I mean, they're not good.
it was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch, but their offense was not. I mean, Jordan Howard played out of his mind last year, but their offense wasn't there. And they absolutely shredded them, and teams continued to shred them for weeks to come. I think that there was a lot to do about, their safeties and whatnot, but I just don't think that they have a very formidable defense as people like to think they do. And the other thing, too, is they play in a division outside of the Bears anyway, but a lot of people like to sleep on the Lions, but they have a pretty good offense.
They do.
And it's... To
Very
me, just
trigger-happy.
watching the Vikings play, it's a team that it's kind of easy to figure out their defense.
For sleepers, though, I'm going to go with Jacksonville. They have a lot of young kids, and they just brought in A.J. Boye and Cletus Campbell. Do they have some leadership on that defense now? with players like Jalen Ramsey and Miles Jack getting another year in, Dante Fowler Jr., I think they're really going to turn people's heads around.
So now they'll only lose by 20 versus 30?
Different. I guarantee they'll be all right this year.
You almost guaranteed it, and then you pulled it away.
They could win a division. The division's not a runaway.
I touched on two. I don't know if anyone can confirm. I think the NFC North plays the NFC South this year, division-wise, and I think that's what happens. So if that's the case, I mean, we talked about the Atlanta Falcons. They have the potential to be an explosive offense. Carolina has the potential to be an explosive offense. Tampa Bay has a very sleeping offense that can really light up. New Orleans has an offense.
I'd agree with that.
But then the NFC North also plays the AFC North, and the Steelers have a really good offense. The Bengals have the potential to have a good offense. The Browns suck. The Ravens have a good offense. They're playing a lot of teams that are very capable of blowing up 35 points in a real hurry. So I think the Vikings get hit hard this year. That one's for you, Andy. Kickers. The real fun. 3-1. Prater, Bailey, Tucker.
Wow.
I would put Tucker 1. He's the best kicker in this game.
That's why I said 3-1.
Yeah.
Didn't hear that.
Slow clap.
I'm surprised you don't have Gostkowski on there.
See, for me, Gostkowski's, I don't know, he's weird to me because it's the Patriots either utilize him or they just score a bunch of touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know you still get a point for the extra point kicked, but especially now with the extra point being moved back, a lot of kickers miss the extra point. There's much more room for blocking.
Tucker's got crazy range.
Tucker's got insane range. Really, honestly, for a long time on this list, I would have always had, what's his name, Zerlane, because he's got, like, insane range, but the Rams just can't even get on their own side of the field, so it doesn't matter. Bailey's always good. Prater's always good. I mean, they've got good range. They've got the capability to kick these field goals when they're, the Ravens can be inconsistent on offense, but as long as you get to the 35, you're going to get points. And in most fantasy leagues, you get more points for farther field goals, and these guys can pretty well consistently hit 50-yard field goals.
There's really not too much room to argue with kickers.
Bias sleeper, Connor Barth. I think
Is he with the Bears now?
Yes, he is. I think Howard is still going to have. I think he's going to have a pretty good year. Their offensive line is healthy again, and I think it's going to still be pretty well for run game anyway. You don't really know what we're going to get quarterback wise, but we have a lot of young, hungry receivers looking to make their own, and now we got Victor Cruz who could be good over the middle. We got some pieces. It could click. I mean, we're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think, but it could click enough to get the ball moving.
Yeah.
And if Connor Barth can, improve on his range a little bit, I think he gets a lot of field goal opportunities. That's why Robbie Gould was so good for so long, because the Bears were really good at getting to the 25-yard line. If the end zone, if the field was 75 yards, the Bears would have been undefeated for like 40 years. But it's not. So I think Connor Barth's a good sleeper.
Good sleeper for me would be Chris Boswell. The Steelers don't score much from the red zone in.
The Steelers and Bears kind of have the same thing going on. You really don't have to keep them out of the end zone. You just let them get to the red zone and they'll do the rest for you.
See, the thing, not to interrupt Kyle, the Steelers also are going to burn you on a lot of extra points. They go for 2 a lot.
Yeah, but that's if they score. A lot of times they don't score from the red zone in. So, like the Chiefs game last year, he had 5 field goals, or 6 field goals.
Wow.
He could do that again. Very accurate.
And just for a round of Guinnesses, I got Bryant as my bust.
Excellent.
His dad's coaching.
I forgot all about that. I say Bryant just because I called this last time. The last time the Falcons went on a big hot streak and went into the playoffs, we were sitting there watching the game Kendall Knight School, and I said they're going to have a terrible year next year, and they did. And I think that's going to kind of happen again. Not as bad of a drop-off, but I just don't... Their defense is a lot better than it was the last time they had this big hot streak. But I just think their offense is going to kind of tank out again. I think they're going to put up numbers, but they're not going to outscore people as much as they did. And
good.
I don't know, I see inconsistency from him from time to time. And Matt Ryan can be a little lackadaisical with the football, and I think Freeman becomes a fumble machine.
I say go Mike Nugent. I hope he has
Hopkins? Mike Nugent Hopkins?
No. Hall of Fame year this year out of Nugent. Bring it on.
For
That
bust,
was a bust, though, that we
Nope.
were talking about.
I went the other way.
for bust, I'm going with Adam Vinatieri.
He's
Because
still active, huh?
yeah,
I can't believe he's still playing.
right now Andrew Luck's out the first 6 weeks of the season. Who's their backup?
Is it still Matt Hasselbeck?
No, he
No,
retired.
No, they'll bring him back.
It
They
just
should.
I can't see him scoring a lot of points this year.
Bringing Tebow to Indy?
No,
They can't do that
Why?
because it interferes with baseball.
Play them both.
Be like Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson.
Just the poor man's version. What's this guy do? Well, he plays 2 sports. He's a backup quarterback, and he plays single A baseball.
He loves God.
And he loves God.
God.
One big person we missed was Stephen Houseman. I'm appalled at all of them. Does he make the top 3? No, number 4. But it's like, come on.
Well, that's just it, though. He was number 4, so you can't make him a sleeper.
Yeah, he's a sleeper. Sleeper at number 4.
I don't think that's a
He
thing.
sleeps well.
Sleeps well. He's got a My Pillow.
Well rested. He's got a My Pillow.
I got a My Pillow.
They're horrible.
It's all right.
Hopefully these fantasy predictions really screw up your teams, and you guys finish in last. I know we're excited for our fantasy football league.
We're not responsible for any losses on your fantasy teams.
Yeah, this isn't ESPN. I don't know if you shared it with the other members of the crew, but our man of many names ordered a trophy for this year for
Did he actually
for
do
the
it?
winner of the fantasy football league. And we'd also like to say that the newest nickname for Kyle Souls is Milwaukee. He likes Milwaukee's best now. For those of you who don't know, it's the best Milwaukee has to offer.
damn right.
He's also going to be throwing up shortly because, as per bet with Maxine Washable and J-Mart, he has to finish this disgusting shot that Jeff poured.
After we'll put it in the freezer.
No.
You're going to put it in the freezer, huh?
No, you're doing it right now.
I got a game, dude. I can't do that.
But you're gonna.
You're gonna
We
do
do it
it.
right after we do our beer reviews.
Excellent.
So if you throw me the ball today, I will hit you.
You're the catcher.
Yeah,
Exactly.
What do you got for a beer review there, reader?
I like the pinball. Not as much as previous show, last show actually, when I had the Big Daddy, but it's good. It's good.
The best thing about Kendall, all you have to do is find a beer with like a ridiculous name or / can,
And he
and
likes
it doesn't matter how terrible it is.
Be horse urine in there.
You could put Busch Light in any can that's like vibrantly colored, and that'd be the greatest thing ever for him.
Judge the book by the cover.
Now, Maxine, I know you said you've had the Headway before, but
I'm a big fan of the Headway. It's real easy drinking beer. IPAs are great. 8 out of 10.
all right.
Well, 2 juicy is always 1 juicy in my heart. So it was fantastic.
What?
That might be your worst beer sign off ever.
What?
Yeah, I didn't have a good one for this.
How about you, J Mart?
I don't have anything to say after that.
Come on, did the beer give you a wet dream like it says it would?
Yeah, it gave me one of those, like,
Like a
it
semi?
started to be like, oh, I'm about to get it, and then all of a sudden you wake up and your cat's pissing on your face. You know what I'm saying? Kettle.
No.
I own giraffes, but I've been in similar situations.
Exactly.
I mean, so Guinness is just like the greatest thing ever. I mean,
Church.
I've had it before. I'm gonna have it again. I'm not gonna never stop drinking Guinness. It's I love it because it's the stout that you can drink all year round. It's just so delicious. I don't know what's going on with these these names that are going on. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and do this disgusting shot for the viewers? They're gonna, Come on, here we go.
Yeah. Good.
Oh man,
Good for you.
Good. Oh, that face.
Oh,
you ever seen someone throw up out of their eyes? That's what's going on right now.
oh.
Good time to sign off.
Well, he's vomiting right now. So don't forget to follow us on all social medias. Maxine Washable, can you tell the listeners where they can find us?
We can be found on Facebook at Getting Sports with Drunk. Same name on Instagram. Twitter is GSWD_4.
That's right. Use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily needs, whether it's Kyle Souls vomiting in a toilet or doing a Parmesan shot. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.